talk about low milk supply. It will probably be a series of videos because it is a very, very intense discussion, I guess you could call it, because it's got so many parts to it. And I want to make sure to cover all of it because I think it's probably the biggest question every mom feels. I mean, we can all have like certain insecurities about things when we breastfeed, but this is a question it almost seems like every mom worries about. And she could be an experienced mom who's breastfed a zillion times and still have these concerns. Let me just point out that only 2 to 5% of women actually have a reason, an actual reason why they cannot produce enough milk. So that leaves 95 to 98% of women actually start off with and have the ability to make plenty of milk. But sometimes we do things because our fear of not being able to make enough milk, we actually do things to sabotage ourselves and we don't even realize we're doing it. So I am going to start with, first, is your milk supply really low? And we're going to look at some common reasons why a mom might think that her supply is low. And that's going to kind of be what this video is going to talk about. And then we'll go into talking some about potential causes of low milk supply and increasing your milk supply. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how what tools you have to be able to give you the confidence and the ability to know if your baby is getting enough milk. So first, we're going to talk about, is your milk supply really low? And that's where the questions of all these different things that the baby does that makes us think that maybe, or it makes us question, maybe we do not have enough milk. So first of all, if your baby is gaining weight well and they're going through good diaper output, then all of these things that I'm going to go through are exactly what I say. They're just concerns, but in reality are not actual indicators of low milk supply. Now, if your baby was not gaining weight well and the baby is not getting enough output, the baby could actually have some of these things could be indicators of low milk supply. Those indicators that are not in themselves indicators of low milk supply. And so, like I mentioned, the two tools that you have are weight gain, knowing whether they're gaining weight, well, and if they're going through the adequate amount of diapers. And that would be day 1, it's 1 diaper. Day 2, it's 2 diapers, and so forth until you get to day 6. And then we're just looking for 6 wet diapers a day after that. And 2 to 3 of those will be stool. So those first 2 weeks when you're practicing and learning are really, really key and crucial to not adding bottles or pacifiers, because you want the baby to breastfeed or even suck on your breast as much as the baby wants, because that's how the baby puts in the order for milk, tells the body, okay, I'm here and I want this amount of milk and I want this milk at this specific times. We don't want to time the baby, of course, but we want the baby to be able to feed as much as they want. So we don't want to put them on a schedule. We want to feed as the baby needs it. And so those first 2 weeks are very crucial. A lot of times mothers who have issues the first couple of weeks, by week 4 to 6, they start experiencing low milk supply. And in that case, then we would have to do things to increase it, which we will talk about in this milk supply series of videos. So let's get to the first one. Your baby nurses frequently. This is very normal because breast milk is only in their system for about an hour and a half. Pretty much it's so easy for them to digest. It goes everywhere it needs to go, and it's not in there very long. The baby takes what they need and the body is like, okay, we need more. So about every hour and a half, you're going to find the baby eating. It's also normal for a baby to cluster feed, and this could be where they're eating literally, it seems like constantly for maybe 4 or 5 hours, and then they take a 4 or 5 hour, 6 hour sleep, and that's okay, and that's normal as long as the baby is getting between 8 and 12 times, 8 to 12 feedings a day. So we're not looking for every 2, 3, 4 hours. We're looking for 8 to 12 feedings, and however they feed, as long as they are feeding between that 8 and 12 times, they're gaining weight, and they are having the proper output, then the baby is doing well. But if the baby is nursing constantly, it seems like they're on the breast, the whole time, and then the diaper output is hardly anything, and the stool is hardly anything, and the weight gain is not doing well, then we know we've got to do something and find out what's causing the problem, and that's when you need to literally be face-to-face with somebody who can observe the feeding to see what could possibly be the issue and work with you to fix it. And of course, increasing milk supply would come later. Another one is your baby suddenly increases in frequency. Now that means like all of a sudden, maybe the baby's doing every 2 hours, and then all of a sudden they're feeding every hour and they're fussing and they're crying a lot and they're pulling at the breast and they just seem to be so upset. That happens about every 2 weeks, starting at day 10 to 14. That's called a growth spurt, and the baby goes through that, and it can sometimes take 2 days. I mean, especially if it starts like say 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. one day, and it might go into the next day, and sometimes even up to almost 48 hours. But then that passes, and what the baby's doing at that period of time is increasing your milk supply. So as the baby grows and he needs more milk, then if you're letting him feed as much as he wants on those days, that 24-hour to 48-hour period, he is increasing your milk. And that's naturally how your milk increases with the baby, is through those growth spurts. So that is perfectly normal. Again, that is if weight gain is good and diaper output is good. Now, babies not gaining as fast as what some might want, but diaper output is good, is also the weight gain would not be as concerning as if a baby wasn't going through diapers. The diapers are really the number one biggest thing that we want to see. The next thing is your baby nurses more often and is fussy in the evening. And this is actually really normal. A lot of times, I don't know what it is, but we do know your prolactin is higher at night. So it could have something to do with that, where the baby just, is naturally more fussy. It's I don't know. I always notice that too. I felt like my supply was just never enough in the evening because they were fuss and feed a lot. But it is actually quite normal. Your baby doesn't nurse as long as he or she did previously. And this is, again, very, very normal. I remember going to see a mom and her daughter, she said, they were concerned about her weight gain. It wasn't where the doctor wanted it to be. But her diaper output was good, but she didn't nurse for very long. She nursed for like 5 to 8 minutes, and then she'd get off and she'd walk around and play and do things. And, well, not walk around, but, crawl around and things. She was older. She wasn't newborn. But as babies learn to breastfeed, they can get very, very good at getting that milk out. And she did. If the baby is pretty settled and content, in between feeds, that's a good sign the baby's got, they got plenty. They just are good at getting the milk out. And you pumping, you could never get out what a baby does. So let's say you pump out 1.5 ounces. The baby's probably getting 2 to 2.5 ounces, if not even a little more than that. So never worry about that, what the baby's getting or how long they're on the breast. if the baby's, again, diaper output is good and the weight gain is good, or at least that diaper output and the baby's content, those are good signs. Now, this is for a baby that would be past the 4 to 6 week stage, because between birth and 4 to 6 weeks, the baby's learning how to breastfeed, and it's going to take a little while for them to really be able to get that milk out and do it in a very quick way. So basically that's why this point is they're nursing less than they were previously. It's like changing how long that they feed or how often that they feed. And that's because as they get older, they get better at it and so forth. So babies will actually be changing a lot from like day 1, 2, and 3 to day 10 to 14. They'll be different. So just knowing that as they get older, they get better and better with it. And that's why, it's the way that it is. Your baby is fussy, and that is just kind of, it seems like babies just have a certain time of the day where they tend to be more fussy, and that is very normal. And just remembering that it's kind of like their way of communicating. And the evening always seems to be the most, I'd say the worst time and the most fussiest time for them is the evening. It could be for many, many different reasons. But usually it will go away if you kind of figure it out. Like I figured out with mine at one point that it was her blanket. She loved her blanket. And if I had her blanket, the blanket she loved, if I had her wrapped in it, she would totally relax and be content. And then my other one was he wanted to be in his bassinet, not in somebody's arms. So sometimes it's just learning your baby and figuring out what it is that's making them fussy, and then it usually will go away. Another one is your baby guzzles down a bottle after you've fed them on the breast. And this is normal because a baby will never turn away a bottle. And one of the reasons is they can't really control the bottle. They want to suck. They just naturally want to suck. And milk is coming to them, and they don't really have a way to stop it. So they can guzzle a whole bottle down just because they enjoy sucking, and they really don't know how to basically, not take the milk but continue to suck kind of thing. Maybe you're worried about your breast. It doesn't leak milk, or it's soft now. It's no longer hard. All those things are normal. It may never leak milk. And it's supposed to go back to what it felt like before you had the baby. And then if you miss a feed or, sometimes you notice then the breast feeling a little fuller. It's never usually painful unless you miss a feeding. So you really shouldn't have that hard, full, hot, uncomfortable feeling unless you're missing feeds. And if you feel that way, then there's most likely the baby is not eating enough and not sticking to their but definitely make sure that you are feeding whenever the baby needs to, and you shouldn't experience that engorged feeling after, a week or so. Your breast gets used to how much milk, and it makes just that amount and makes it when the baby normally eats. So that's kind of like your clue. Let's see, you never feel the letdown sensation. That is normal. Some women don't even know what that feeling is, and so when they do have it, they don't realize they're having it, and some people just don't have it, so don't worry about that. That's not an indicator either. And then I had mentioned this already, and that's that you don't get very much out when you pump, and again, that is normal because a baby can do much better because it's all hormones that produce and release milk. So when you're on a pump, it's just the hormones don't release the same way. So you never get the amount out of a pump that a baby can get. So just always remembering that a baby can get an ounce or sometimes even 2 more than what a pump can do. And a lot of times it can even depend on the pump itself as to how much milk you'll be able to get out. So another little quick thing I want to put in there until the next video will be some potential causes of low milk supply. But what I want to say is if you're feeling like you have a low milk supply or you're suspecting it, you just don't feel right about it, contact if you're with WIC, they usually have a breastfeeding peer counselor or somebody that can help you in that area. The hospitals that you deliver at sometimes have lactation consultants there for you. And then also there's usually La Leche League in the area somewhere that you can contact somebody there. I can help you with those things. I can find your resources for your area. I do have some tools myself to be able to do that for you. So if you need help finding resources, please feel free to email me or contact me, comment below, and I will help you in any way I can. And like I said, there's always something that can be done. And even just me being here for you, if we had to do something like FaceTime where I'm watching you breastfeed over, Skype or FaceTime, I'd be willing to do that to help you, because that's what I'm doing the whole thing for breastfeeding the videos for. So definitely you will have something to help you to be a little more confident in yourself. So the next video will be about potential causes of low milk supply, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the like button if you did and you want to continue and you like the series. Please take a moment to hit the red button and subscribe. Keep watching. I'm so glad that you are here and watching, and I hope that you will continue to. You guys have a great evening and a great weekend, because today is Friday for me, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.